All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else? And the video I'm bringing you today, I was asked by a few people to cover this. You know, I will do my best, guys. I will go through it. I'll provide a link in the description. It's already been covered by LCast, but I will do it as well. I will say, I am not an expert. I am not a computer programmer. Some of these changes are kind of, I don't know exactly how they will impact things. I'll just read it out and I'll provide my opinion. And we'll dive through the quarter 1, quarter 2, and quarter 3 changes that are coming in. So this came out July 30th, which was about a month ago now. It says, we're working hard to make sure the Elder Scrolls Online runs as best as it possibly can. Read our plan for the game's upcoming performance improvements from ESO's creative director Rich Lambert, and check back monthly for status updates. So they should be providing status updates as it happens. So here we go. With the launch of Elsewhere, we wanted to give you an update on our ongoing performance optimization initiatives, our future plans, and when generally you can expect to see the improvements. This will be a living document, and it will be updated as new information becomes available. We know that ESO performance has degraded for some players, especially on the PS4 and Xbox One. We're not happy with this, and we know how important it is for us to alleviate the situation and give regular updates on what we are doing. A game that's still going strong after 5 years brings a number of challenges to keep it running as smoothly as possible. Technology and player behavior changes over time, and of course the amount of available content continually expands. All these can impact performance, and they have in ESO. So, the gist with this is, probably, just as any other game, I doubt, people really expected this game to be going strong in 5 years. Like MMOs, good MMOs do have a long shelf life. You can look at World of Warcraft, you can look at a few other games and they can. Honestly, this is going to be my one thing. Well, I'll have a few things like this, but, ESO is in a very unique situation right now, in my opinion. And, World of Warcraft has been the number one MMO for a very long time. They have a ton of people playing the game, and they've been losing a lot of players. And so now all of a sudden, you see guys like Nixium and other guys in World of Warcraft. You had Shroud, who's a very known first-person shooter guy on Twitch, playing ESO. You had all these guys coming to the game, and it was just essentially free publicity. And ESO is in a very unique situation to where they're probably, in the discussion, if not the clear second best MMO available right now. With all their warts, I know there's going to be a lot of people negatively saying this, but as far as like player population goes, there's not many games that compare to Elder Scrolls Online. And so they're in a very unique situation to where if World of Warcraft keeps messing their stuff up, and ESO actually does make good improvements, and they make good combat improvements, and they make good trial improvements, they could be in a situation to where in a year or two they could be competing, with World of Warcraft for actual best MMO, in my opinion. They'd have to have a lot of things go right for them, but the base game is there. Like everybody's talked about it. Everybody's always talked about the potential of this game. We're year 5 in, the potential will always exist. Reaching that potential is more and more bleak because we are in year 5 and we're not seeing these changes. So at the end of the day, that's what's on the line, guys. That's what's on the line for, this game and this company is, they could continue making money, being where they're at because there's just nobody really competing right now for what they have. There's games coming out in the future. I've Ashes of Creation, World of Warcraft Classic is coming out, I think, or maybe it's already come out. There are games that are going to be, introduced that people will be looking at. Obviously, people are going to bring up Black Desert. I've heard very, very mixed reviews on Black Desert. Some people really, really enjoy it. Some people really, really hate it. So I wouldn't put them in the same category as Elder Scrolls Online yet. Obviously, I have a biased opinion. It's just what I've heard from everybody that I've talked to that's gone to Black Desert and has come back to ESO. So I only have a very limited scope on BDO. So when you look at these, when you see what's happening here, you see a game that came out strong, and they continue to add content to keep players, and now they've had this overhaul, and now they realize like, hey, we're losing a bunch of like we're bringing in new players every year, but we're losing a bunch of players to basically performance, and performance is the number one thing that is killing this game on Xbox. It's not the bash builds. It's not overloads hitting for 30k. It's not being able to CC break. It's your character not getting light attacks off to proc certain sets. It's being forced to wear very tanky sets because you cannot function in lag. And so, yeah, that's my long-winded point covering one paragraph. So yeah, let's continue into it. This article is the first step in a new process of making sure that everyone knows what we're working on. The goal is to outline the things that we have planned, explain why a particular item is important to overall stability or performance, and provide a target for when we think the work is going to be complete and on the live servers. Please keep in mind that some of these fixes reach very deep into the architecture of the game and require a lot of care, time, and testing. Because of this, target dates and some of the initiatives may shift as work progresses. So basically they're saying be patient with us. When you dip into the core functionality of how a game works, you could really make things worse. And so it seems like they're going to be testing stuff in the background to make sure like these are actually good changes. Code is always fun. Yeah. So I guess we'll see how it goes. But anyways, Q4 2019 update 24. So Q4 is anywhere November, December typically. The first thing they're going to do is memory management overhaul. Fundamental changes to how we handle memory use in ESO to reduce memory fragmentation. User experience, greatly improved stability, less crashing and dashboarding, especially on base consoles, as well as potential minor performance improvement. So that's good. People are going to see minor performance improvement. Crashing and dashboarding improvements would be very nice. Behind the scenes combat ability improvements phase 1. This is the first of an ongoing initiative to rewrite some of the more consumptive combat abilities to lessen server load. This is the first of many behind the scenes combat optimizations and may not have a huge impact, but over time this will lessen the server load and allow smoother and more responsive combat with larger groups. So they're basically looking at all of these different skills and abilities and how they impact in large group situations. This is why, when I was talking about the CP tree yesterday and how, like the Siphoner passive, when you're getting hit with light attacks from multiple different people, that's constantly calculating. And so when you have all these different running calculations in the background, it can create issues in large fights. When you have all these different proc sets, when you have, all these different conditions that can be applied, you then all of a sudden get an overload in lag and all these other things. So, I don't know. Obviously, there's not much optimism. I mean, somebody that knows a little bit more about computers can actually provide more information. I would actually really appreciate it if we have computer programmers or game developers out there that maybe do other stuff and play ESO in their free time. If they can chime in on Q4, Q1 of 2020 and Q2 and their thoughts on this, that would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, I'm definitely not an expert on this. Complete rewrite of the looking for group system. Ground up rewrite of how the system handles queues of people in both dungeons and battlegrounds, focused on reliability and speed, especially under load. So this has always been an issue. People queuing for battlegrounds or looking for group during primetime hours can be stuck in very long queues. User experience and looking for groups doesn't work as expected, even under heavy load. So the goal is to update that, which would be very nice. But yeah, overall, not a bunch of changes. Like we're going to see maybe minor crash situations, which is huge on Xbox, to be honest. So this will be more of a console-based improvement. Console does suffer more than PC. Q1 2020, patching overhaul. So what is this? February, March-ish, probably. I think that's typically around the time they come out with this stuff. Big changes to the way ESO is downloaded, patched, and stored on local hard drives. We need to refresh ESO's patching and file manifest data to remove duplicate files and older data that is no longer needed. This will result in a major reduction of space taken up by the client on the player's local hard drive. As you guys know, the amount of download, the amount of space you need on your Xbox or PlayStation or whatever to download this game is immense. It is a large amount. So they're looking to free up a bunch of that. They basically said that it's going to go more on the client side than the player side. So yeah, console players will see a significantly larger impact compared to PC because of the way those patching systems work. So this is actually one of the larger changes in general. I think this is going to be pretty. We'll see how big of a performance is, but major improvement in load times, streaming of assets, and reliability of asset loads, especially on consoles. Guys, I've fought people in PvP where they've been invisible. I've done normal dungeons where ads are invisible. I do think this patching overhaul and removing the amount of just blank files that exist out there would help. Now, this reminds me of, it was like a year or two ago. There was a huge lag issue with one of the patches, and I can't remember which one it was, but like you would load into a busy area, and you would just lag hard, like lag and then crash. And basically what was happening is the game was running a search through your guilds constantly to figure out where everybody in your guild was. And so if you were in one of those big trading guilds or two or whatever, it was searching and refreshing every single person in your trading guild to see where they were. So if they were in Craglorn, if all of a sudden they moved to Stormhaven, if they went to PvP or in sewers, it was constantly refreshing to figure out where everybody was. And so it was creating this big bog down in a big amount of lag on each individual person on console. And so the quick fix was to just search for one person's name, and just doing that one thing freed up all of the serious lag issues. And so because of how big the search was going for the amount of people. Now, with that being said, there are expansive places in this game, guys. There's that just don't really need to exist for any reason. And I don't know how big of an impact this is, and maybe somebody, like I said, that's a little bit smarter than me can comment on it. But they have spaces in this game that you can walk into. You can skip outside of the map. I know there's one in Imperial City. There is one in Clockwork City. I know that there used to be one with Maw of Lorcage. Everybody knows about the old Maw of Lorcage glitch where you could streak across the map and you could walk along the backside. And if it's just, these places are expansive, and they're not used in the game. And so if the game is running searches in these places to find people and to render things out, it's just, it's not needed because it's not actually part of the game. And so I do think that this is going to be a big change for, the game in general. Faster loading art fixtures and characters. As part of the client changes above, we will be moving to faster, newer, better compression libraries for art fixtures and character loading. These are two of the most expensive loading tasks. User experience, better load times, fewer shadow player silhouettes. Excellent. The second stage of behind-the-scenes combat ability improvements for Phase 2. Next round behind the scenes, smoother, more responsive experience in combat situations. So around this time will be, where we're actually experiencing performance changes, in my opinion. We have time built in the schedule here for general frame rate improvements. More details on this in future updates. So apparently there are increased frame rates in this time as well. So this looks like February, March of 2020, whatever quarter one update is, whenever this comes out, is going to be the biggest improvement to the game. And so in general, like changing how the data is patched and stored, faster upload times, faster frame rates. All these are going to coincide, as well as Phase 2 of how combat abilities work in PvP. Those are all going to stack on top of each other in Phase 2. And then we have server optimization and stability. Server optimizations are being investigated and assessed with the focus on CPU and bandwidth usage on the server, especially on the combat handler and messaging. All right. User experience and more responsive experience, especially in intense or high bandwidth situations, i.e. places where large groups of players are found. So it looks like quarter one of 2020 is going to be the biggest amount of changes, and then they have update quarter 2 2020, update 26. That's typically the big chapter drop. So, 2 years ago, Somerset, this year is Elsewhere. Whatever the one next year is going to be, that's going to be this quarter 2 2020 update. Account database, cold storage. There are millions of accounts in our database. The goal of this task is to split the character database into active and inactive shards to remove the need to pool all the character records for all logins. User experience faster account login and character loads. As you guys know, logins have been taking longer and longer over the years. I had a 10-minute log on today. I stepped away, I came back, and it was still going. So basically, like, people that have played in the past and don't play anymore, they're going to be put into an inactive area, and so their data will not be pooled until all of a sudden they log back in. And then it says, note, players log in for the first time after being inactive for a few years will notice an initial longer load while their account is transferred from inactive to active. So, yes, so this should streamline loading times, maybe make RITs a little bit more viable in the future. Framerate Improvements Phase 2. The team has time built into Update 26 to identify more areas for framerate improvements. Please note that this takes place after the framerate improvements in Update 25, so this will piggyback on those. So another set of framerate improvements, next June or so. Better, smoother frame rate, and then additional bug fixes and other updates. The NPC and monster pathing system will be overhauled to result in fewer movement bugs. We're always working on identifying outstanding bugs and fixing them. If any rise to the level of needing to be included in this regularly updated post, we will do so. As you can see, we have a huge amount of work ahead of us. There's a ton of stuff to do, and as time progresses, you should expect that some of these items may change, especially the investigative tasks, since we aren't 100% sure what will be uncovered. Regardless, we will keep you updated. Watch this article on our official ESO social channel for updates at least once a month. Thanks, everyone, for being patient with us while we work through these issues. See you all in Tamriel. So, that's the end. Like I said, this is going to apparently be a living document where they will be updating things. They're doing research on how to improve stuff. It's all good, guys. And I know this stuff takes time. It's just too bad because it's a bad time. Elsewhere has been really bad for prime time across all platforms. There's no denying it. It's almost impossible to play in lag, whether you're doing trials, dungeons, or PvP. Heaven forbid you go to Stormhaven to try and duel during prime time hours sometimes. Like, good God. I don't know why people want to punish themselves with this stuff, but it is what it is. Like, you love the game, you want to play, and you really can't play. And everybody I've talked to on PC is saying currently that Scalebreaker is working, it's worse than Elsewhere. And so the optimism there isn't very high. Maybe it's just a bug, like they need to patch something and it'll make it work better. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a programmer, like I said, for like the 5th time. But, the game's in a bad spot performance-wise. And it's tough to... I play this game because I enjoy playing it. But, there's some stuff that, you just can't really do. And playing in big keep battles is not one of them. Playing during, on the weekends or prime time. Like, I just don't even really try to touch this game on the weekends, to be honest. So if I have free time and I can play, I normally don't really hop on much because it's just too laggy. And so you're taking away basically the largest amount of your player base can't really play at the times that they want to play. And so they're going to go to other games. And yes, these changes are coming. But when you're looking at the big changes, in my opinion, February, it's August right now. So you have 5 months for people to find new games to play other stuff. And so I think we're going to see a huge player loss for a while. I think that's just the way it is. And, I don't blame anybody for stopping to play this game. I mean, obviously it's an MMO. You can come back at any point in time. And, I think that's just the rough spot that they're in right now because, it's pretty bad. So, like I said, guys, I'm going to keep playing this game. I'm going to keep posting stuff. I'm not too worried about the patch changes for Scalebreaker. I'm as prepared as I can be. I can just only play as long as the game allows me to play. And so if Scalebreaker is so bad that I can't play in it, I just won't be playing this game anymore, just like anybody else. I'm not going to keep posting content on a game that I can't play. I will obviously pick it back up again because, like I said, I do enjoy this game. I thoroughly enjoy the game. I love the combat system. I love how all the classes interact, even if classes are overpowered or whatever. I've always enjoyed this game, and so, but you know, we'll see. We'll see how bad the lag takes us in Scalebreaker for us on console. Yeah. That's going to be the end of this video. If you guys have any questions or comments, please provide it in the section below. Like I said, I will provide a link to this. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.